have on the back.
What's going on, beautiful people? I am the Grandmaster, and I also go by D-Ray, bringing you guys the next episode of the Grandmaster's Table. And like always, I am joined by my beautiful co-host, Summer. Going to say hi?
Hi.
Just so you guys have in context, she like got herself together, leaned into the microphone, and just gave the hi like a little gentle fairy. Guys, if we have a massive episode for you guys today. This has been a long time coming. Yes. He's been a little bit of a rival with me with a couple of draft leagues, one being the NCP, now with the BBR. We're 1-1. That's why I call it the rivalry. We still have to finish off getting the third to find out what the tiebreaker is looking like. But this man is a phenomenal content creator, just doing anything that he does, whether if it's going to be on YouTube, on Twitch, probably one of the most well-known and warm personalities you can find on YouTube. Please do me a favor and help me welcome CBAD.
Cue the clap reel. What's going on, everybody? Glad to be here.
Just the slow snaps like in golf. Guys, if you guys are excited for this episode as much as we are, do us a massive favor and smash the thumbs up button. And if you're new, por favor, hit the subscribe button, turn on post notifications, hit the bell button so you guys get notified every single time we post a new video. Summer, let's take the big deep breath for me every single time. So, CBAD, how you doing today, man? How are things going on this fine evening? It's late for you. Yeah. So, how you feeling?
Hey, doing well. Just got some. I'm gonna eliminate the uhs at the beginning of this now, so they don't continue. Otherwise, I'm a big person. I work in a call center during my day job, so it's always this, don't say when you're on the phone call. So I'm like just stuttering blankly, but. It's going well. Got a lot done around the house today. We just got actually a storage unit. We've been meaning to since we've lived here about 2 years or so. We've been just accruing a lot of things. Yeah. And whether they be important or not, they have gathered space. And hopefully on the 3-day weekend, we're going to try to kind of gut the place and do a little estate sale, see if we can just kind of clean things up. Got a water cooler. Just, I'm so excited to be 27 and just, this is what I got a water cooler. That's what I'm excited about today. Like, I didn't go skydiving or anything, but no, just enjoying it. Another day in the life, really.
Nice. So, okay, we're going to put something out on the table here. We're going to move on to this, and I'm glad that you helped us segue into it. Yeah. Now, you said that your job, you're on the phone, and we are actually speaking a little bit before. We'll leave the part that we're speaking about in just a couple seconds because I feel like it needs a little bit of time to marinate with us real quick. But you said that you're on the phone in your day job. What is it you do outside of YouTube?
So for my day job, 9 to 5, I actually work in an insurance call center. I'm a licensed insurance agent.
Oh, nice. Cool.
That's awesome. I would buy insurance from you.
Actually did that too.
Your voice is
I always tell Daniel that you sound like you should be in Family Guy or like some movie that Seth MacFarlane makes.
Like some kind of animated movie?
Not just because he sounds like Seth MacFarlane. Like he could be a backup for him.
You do. Your voice is
I was a big Seth MacFarlane fan for a take that. I take that very kindly. Thank you.
Every time Daniel has your videos on, I feel like it's like Seth MacFarlane's YouTube talking about Pokemon. Like you sound exactly like him. It's wild to me.
Have you ever done any kind of like voice talent, voice creative stuff outside of YouTube? Like any kind of animated stuff?
Nothing voice acting. I did the furthest I ever got to, I guess, acting out of character was I did do a few skits on my own channel a while back, probably a few years ago at this point. And then there was a friend of mine who used to make skit videos known as the Pokemon Professor. And we did a few skit videos where I would be in front of a green screen and dress up and have to just talk in a lower voice and be ominous and things like that. Nothing too crazy though. Nothing as far as voice acting. It's always appealed to me, but I don't feel like I have the range at any moment's notice to be like, just act like you're a fun, happy elf from the 1400s. Like, what does that sound like? True. Like, I don't have that. I'm more of the. The Seth MacFarlane understudy is really fun. Hey, Peter, what are you doing?
Yeah, exactly. I'm telling you, if Seth MacFarlane needs some backup, you could do it.
Bravo.
I wouldn't even tell the difference.
Yes, that's awesome. So that's cool, man. So you're a busy job. So that's obviously something that's really time consuming. Yeah, are you doing that full time? That's your full time gig?
Yep, that's 40 hours a week.
Oh, so that for me has brought a whole another level of respect because you are doing a lot of content outside of doing your day job. Do you find it difficult to find that balance sometimes?
If I could find a better word for incredibly, I would use that. But since it's escaping me right now, yes, incredibly.
Would you say that? So now, knowing that you have a 9 to 5, 40 hours a week, and you pump out amazing content constantly, would you say that making content is something that you do for fun that evolved into what it is today?
Yeah, I would say so. I feel like this will be touched on at some point. If not, I'll do a quick TLDR on everything. I originally started making YouTube videos for fun. I came to YouTube when I was in just a really rough spot in my life, and one of my close friends actually introduced me to, I think it was a Shady Penguin Wi-Fi battle in X and Y. And I was like, this guy is kind of he's my grandpa now, so I can call him weird at the time. But I was like, it's kind of weird. These are grown people playing Pokemon on YouTube. And I got into it a little bit, it kind of just distracted from work and everything else that was going on. And I remember him watching a YouTube video where he had said that he left his job as a market manager to pursue YouTube full time. And at the time I was managing a restaurant, and I was like, excuse me, you did what? Doing what now? And it just kind of put more of an emphasis on, well, maybe I should try doing this a little bit more. So I bought my 3DS capture card and started doing Wi-Fi battles, and I tried Let's Plays, and I tried it off of my Walmart $200 laptop that I had before I dropped out of college, and just all this stuff. And it just kind of continued on. And I think when you get into space, you always have a drive to want to do better in some aspect. And it just kind of kept propelling itself to where we are now.
Shout out to Shady Penguin giving us the product that we see today. How long ago did you get your start?
My channel will actually be 6 years old at the end of this month.
Wow,
that's
well, happy anniversary to you. That's really cool.
Thank you.
So
almost off to kindergarten. I don't know what the age is. That could be really weird to have a 6-year-old in kindergarten. Is that on level? Is that par? Is that?
It's first grade. So right.
First grade. Okay.
Yeah, there you go.
Okay, we're in the ballpark. We'll slow learner. We'll put him in 6. That's okay.
Yeah.
Foot inside of elementary school. Life starting to begin. That's amazing.
We're in the umbrella. We're not getting to it.
Yes.
How long have you been? Because I know that I found it as shocked that you could do content creation with Pokemon, but obviously you must have been a fan of it prior to. How long have you been a fan of the franchise itself?
So since Gen 1, I am what the kids call a Gen 1er as far as time aspect goes. I don't sit here and preach the gospel of Kanto. That's not my thing. It holds its place. It's very integral in the rest of the franchise and understanding key elements and blah, 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 blah. I got into it back with Pokemon Blue. I was living in Florida at the time, and I distinctly remember my mother, I had a Game Boy Color or a Game Boy at the time, and she bought me Pokemon Blue. And I was so mad. I just remember being frustrated. I wanted to be grateful for this new game, but I was so frustrated because they didn't introduce the element on how to enter and exit buildings. So when you go downstairs in your house in the first game, there's no door. You don't know where to go. There's a floor mat. I'm 8 years old. I don't know what a floor mat is. And I was Mom, I really don't like this game. Yeah. And she's like, this was the big hype thing back in the day. And she's like, what do you mean you don't like this game, Chase? And I was like, well, I'm stuck in this house. You got me skinned on the Game Boy.
Stuck in this house.
And so she starts wandering around, and she ends up pressing down on the floor mat and exits me out of the house. And I remember it clear as day. I snatched the Game Boy back from her and just continued playing. Didn't know fancy, no nothing. I just kept playing and explored. And I don't think if my mother had that patience to figure out how to leave me from the building, I truly don't know if I'd play Pokemon as much as I do these days.
Wow,
that's amazing. Shout out to Mom. Getting him out of the box. And we would never have CBAD the way we have him today.
I remember that too. And you can't expect kids, 8-year-olds, who were probably between 6 and you were what? How old were you? 9.
We'll get to that.
Right? To know what a floor mat is.
Yeah, it's funny you say that because I was similar. I got a little bit farther. I tried my best to get into that floor mat and get out of the house, but once I got out of it, it was the same with me, but for about half a year actually. You know how my start was with Pokemon Yellow, so your start is Pikachu, and obviously the game does not set you up for success because electric type fighting against the first gym with ground types and rock types, you can't really get very far. So once I got to that first gym, it was just leveling up that Pikachu to the point where I'm never gonna beat this game. What do I do? I ended up like throwing my Game Boy across the room. I made a hole in the wall, and I was just like, I'm done with Pokemon. This game's so stupid, because I actually was into Digimon at the time as well. So I'm like, I'm just gonna watch Digimon. That's my thing. And then my dad was like, hey, look, there's a book, you can read this. Because I had a
book you ever read in your life.
Yeah, I had a tough time reading. I was that kid that just would only read when he absolutely had to. And my parents were like, okay, if we get you this, will you read it? And I said, fine, I will read it. And so therefore I realized that obviously there's weaknesses and then there's resistances. So I figured out, hey, maybe if I get a Butterfree that has a grass type move, or if I pick something up like an Oddish, I can get through it. And I finally did. I read a book and ended up passing it. And then from then on, they read up history. So I feel that being frustrated and just not knowing what to do.
Yeah.
That's
incredible.
amazing.
Where did you start with Digimon?
Digimon was the very first generation. So with the first Digidestin, which was Agumon and Tentomon, and that was good stuff, man. That was when the Japanese animes were slowly starting to make their way towards the United States, and so it just was a different looking cartoon. So I just found it very interesting. And then Digimon was like my thing, and then Pokemon came in after.
I don't want to force away all the Pokemon exclusive fans, but I truly believe that Pokemon, while having a longer lasting franchise, I think Digimon provides a little bit more of a what's the word I want to look for here? Interesting franchise as far as like a plot goes.
There's more.
I was a big fan of Digimon. I actually have. I turned around and realized I should speak into my microphone when recording. In my backdrop, I actually have I have an original copy of Digimon World 1 and 2 for the PlayStation 1.
Wow.
And then I've got two or three Digimon games for the PlayStation 4. And then my like pride and joy in this is actually one of my subs sent me in a care package is the original like Tamagotchi purple Digivice that I've got sitting on one of my plushies in the background. So I always am a big advocate of Digimon. I think when people talk about it, granted, I dropped out about the 4th era when they started having like the armor spirit evolutions. That's when I was like, it's like with Yu-Gi-Oh! When they started getting on motorcycles. I was like, this is okay. We're steering away from the course. But the first 3 to 4 seasons, I was a big advocate of. I think everybody should watch those.
Yeah,
you went a little bit farther than I did. As soon as the second gen came out, when what was it? Tai came about, and it wasn't Tai. It was Davis. Davis was around, and then they started Digivolving with their eggs, and then I was like, okay, this is okay. I can get behind this.
You missed out on Ken Ichi Joji, man. That man is the redemption arc of a lifetime. Oh my god. Oh, that honestly, season 2, the season 2. I don't think it was Tamers. Tamers was with the cards. The cards was okay. You could probably go without the cards, but if you look back on season 1, you're like, boy, I can't wait to like watch this with my kids. Definitely give season 2 a try. It is just an additional expansion. It's like what I would relate Gold and Silver to Red and Blue on. Like, it's the same formula. You still like the kids are grown up, like they're in like high school compared to the middle schoolers or whatever. They're like an era above, so they're still around. But you've got this new focus. So it's like you go through Gold and Silver and you beat it, and you're like, wow, that was fun, sweet. And then they're like, go to Kanto, and you're like, excuse me. It's like that when you see the kids grown up, you're like, oh my god, is that Matt and like TK? You're like, oh my god. So
that's exactly what I was going to say.
It really is like it. If you want to, I'm not gonna hold it against you, but I definitely recommend it if you like the first one.
You're tugging me, man. You're tugging me. Have you ever felt that you were so into? So for me specifically, kind of around the same subject, I can't watch other shows like on Netflix and such because I get so committed to the actual characters. So when I started watching Digimon, it was the same thing when season 2 came out and I saw the Kari's growing up, and then all of a sudden Tai, Matt, Izzy, Sora, they're all like in their teenage high school years. And I'm thinking, okay, the original character's still in the show. I can still watch it. I'm still committed to them, right? Obviously. So that's why I watched through the season 2 or the second generation, you could say, of Digimon, because I had that special connection. As soon as they moved away from those characters, that's when I was like, okay, maybe this isn't as fun as I thought it was. Because I'm so emotionally invested whenever I watch something, which goes the same with like Netflix shows. Yeah. So as soon as Tai, Davis, Sora, Kari, all of them were gone, I'm like, oh man, Digimon doesn't have that same fire. But maybe you are convincing me that I may come on back and give it another chance.
Yes.
I'm very like that with a lot of the shows that I watch. I'll tell you what, though. Have you heard about Digimon Try?
I have not.
So that is they break it down into what's called movies, which are essentially, I think, like 4 to 6. I can't remember how many they are. Little 6-part series where it actually follows the original kids as adults.
Stop.
And they have their partners. Swear to God. It is, to my knowledge, it is only subbed at this point. So if you are not, if you're a dubbed exclusive, I think you may have to look around for it if it's not available. But it is fully out there and complete. It follows all of them as adults with their partners, like same partners.
Wow.
I remember watching it when it came out. Every time I'd get the Crunchyroll notification of like a new chapter, I'd be like, well, there's an hour and a half of my day gone. Like I know what I'm doing right now. It was that's another good one. If you're emotionally attached to like the OG gang, that is, and then they've got the movie coming out at some point too, where it's the last adventure, where I don't know what's gonna happen, but that
sounds sad.
So
they set it up so sad. Like there's a countdown on the Digivice, and like I assume that like something's gonna happen, and I have no idea. And it was supposed
Chase,
to
you're playing with my heart.
but it was supposed to release in theaters, but then like the world shut down for COVID like a week or two before my local theater was supposed to have it. And I was like, whoa, I guess. And then I don't know if they ever released it like online or buying like purchase through DVD or anything like that. But I'm still on edge waiting to see that. But no, that's a great adventure if you're looking into something like that.
Dang it, he got me. You ever felt like a tug in your back you just can't ignore? It's there.
Digimon.
Now I just have to dip back into. So we'll talk more about that after, because now I'm super intrigued and I'm gonna dip back into that world. So for those who have connected with Pokemon from Digimon or vice versa, so we'll venture in that together. Yes. Because oh boy, now I'm just hooked.
Yes.
Phenomenal.
It's great.
So from the beginning of the podcast that I said that I was gonna kind of lead off to a little bit later, we're gonna bring that up now. I love that you are a great character within the community from a couple discords that we're in together. You're known as Papa CBAD, right? So, and I love the fact that you say that sometimes like your age will get you sleepy at the end of the night because you get so tired. The fact that you said that you're 27 makes me not cry. Listen, okay, hold on. For context, Panther and I are the same age. So no, Panther's actually a year older than me. So I came into the community a little bit later. Yeah. My background is I was a VGC player. I played doubles exclusively off in tournaments. I was actually invited to Worlds 2016, which was the one that Wolf won. Yes. I couldn't go because my son was about to be born, so I had to choose between going to the delivery room or hopping on a plane over to Colorado. Yeah. So I had to make that decision. But I've got a couple of years on you, man. So it's I love the fact that you are such a mature soul. Yes. That I can feel it whenever I have a conversation with you.
Yeah, because Daniel is still a child.
I'm 29.
He just turned 29.
I just turned 29.
I'm waiting for you to drop like the mid-30s bomb on me. You're fine.
But Daniel is still a child, so
I love. Okay, so there's a certain level of high intellectual conversation that you can carry with certain people. Whenever we talk to you just in the beginning, I feel that essence with you, that you're just so mature and very smart and very wise. Yeah. Would you say that's an old soul? Don't gas me up too much. I'm just an old soul. Have you always wanted to do what you're doing as a day job, or what's your education like? How far did you go in deep? Because you just ooze this level of just high IQ.
That's incredible that you say that. This is far too much gas than what I expected. So my background with this, actually none of the I see where you're going, like with the dots connecting, and I hate to tell you that they absolutely get railroaded off. And how did you get here? So the furthest formal degree, like when I go apply for loans and apply for jobs and things like that, the highest level of education that I can put on a resume or application is a high school diploma. Yeah. I ended up, I didn't drop out of high school. I finished high school. And at the time I was actually, was entered into the education system. It's funny, we talked about if my 6-year-old channel could be in kindergarten, because I was entered into the schooling system earlier than anticipated. So I actually ended up graduating high school at the age of 17. I didn't turn 18 until halfway through my first year in college. Oh, okay. So because of that, I could not go away to college. My mother and father both worked full-time jobs, one in the morning, one in the evening. And I had a younger brother. I have a younger brother. I had one growing up. He's now older and I don't have to worry about him. But at the time, he was a concern. There was a 9-year difference between us. So I couldn't go off to college. if something were to happen, like if I needed to go to a doctor, like, you know, if I'm out partying like college kids have been known to do in theory.
Of
Yeah.
If
course.
something
In
happened, like
theory.
if I just was like, you know, above the legal age and drinking and tripped and like broke my ankle or something, I couldn't even go see a doctor because I was a minor. I needed a parent there with me.
Dang.
So if I went to even the colleges that I wanted to apply to, the nearest one was 45 minutes away. If something happens,
It's
you know,
too
my
far.
dad works in one side of the state in Detroit. My mother's a school teacher and is asleep by like 9. You know, if something happens, I can't. So I ended up doing the community college route, which ended up working out given all things considered, because during that, I changed my majors. I originally, massage therapist, made the most money for the least amount of schooling. So I wanted to do that first.
I feel that. We have the same mentality. I love it.
Yeah.
It just, I was like, I can spend this much money and then immediately make this much money. I didn't realize that I might need to exude some sort of warmth or friendliness or have soft hands, something like that. I just thought, wow, people will pay me to rub their backs and this will be wonderful. But I originally started with that, and then I don't know what made me change. Something like a light switch. And then I think there was one in between, but then business management is where the darts ended up laying. And I was like, okay, business management, like this sounds cool. Like I like the idea of entrepreneurship, so on and so forth. Well, I was working in a Buffalo Wild Wings at the time, and I was originally a line cook, and I got promoted to be one of their trainers, where I would go and open up new restaurants and train the staff.
Oh,
And then
wow.
a management position opened, and I applied for it, and I ended up getting the management position, which was really cool because I don't even think I was under 21 at the time, still managing one of the busiest restaurants in the
That's
state.
crazy.
I ended up dropping out of college because it was business management. Like, I'm going to keep going for this degree, but why am I going to keep trying in school, let alone pursue a degree when I'm managing a business? So
Yeah.
I stopped going to college after probably, I think I did a year and a half officially. I think there might have been like a tail or two, like a class afterwards that I tried to take just to see if I wanted to, but like a year and a half of college, and I just went with that. And that was, I did that for a few years, and then I moved and I bartended with the same company, different restaurants, and so on and so forth. And that changed nowhere into where I'm at today, which is why I said this whole theory of how I got to where I'm at is going to get railroaded, because I legitimately, that had nothing to do with the job that I have today. I was creating content full time, and this was sped up. I just, as content grew while I was bartending, I managed to like circumvent bartending income with YouTube and Twitch income, and just decided, let's just do this full time and give it a shot. So that's how it's a very anticlimactic story, but the business numbers just worked for me to do so. And then with this job, I was really feeling a lot of burnout. There's a lot of anxiety about content creation, which when you just get wrapped up in the space and blah, 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 mental health is important.
Of course.
Yeah.
Blah, 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 to my own perspective, to my own situation, not to mental health being important.
Yeah,
Mental
yeah,
health is important. The background details are the blah, blah, blah. But anyways, my now wife, at the time, she was my girlfriend. She lived in New York, and we were long distance dating, deciding on if we were going to move in together. We decided to pull the plug and get a spot together in August of 2018, I believe, if my memory serves. And YouTube is very inconsistent. You know, it's very much a lot like serving as it starts to get bigger and better. You know, you get that one series that's just really well, and Twitch is killing it. And then, you know, maybe something happens and, you know, the support's just not there. YouTube ad revenues dip. It just, you know, you make really great and then not really great. And I was not the one to plan for the not really great. I was the really great. Let's not be smart with our money. Let's spend money.
I feel that.
Yeah.
I wanted something a little bit more of a solid baseline, just to kind of meet the bottom dollar should anything happen, you know, with rent, with bills and everything.
Yeah.
She had to she lived in New York. She didn't own a car. She shared a car with her mother. So she had to buy a car. We had to get car insurance together. We had to, you know, get all these bills turned out in our name, internet bills, things like that. So,
Big adult things.
The job ended up needing, and I remember one time, my friend Iron Boffin will always remind me of this, because I was meant to go live and play Dark Souls on a Sunday. He took off the day. It's his favorite game, and I was supposed to stream it. I didn't stream. I didn't tweet that I was canceling stream, nothing. I was just so overwhelmed with streaming. I was over at my buddy's house, and I was like, Darren, you think you can get me a job at your company? And he's like, well, you know, his wife still, at the time, they both worked at that same company. They're like, my position can't, but, you know, May can get you a job here. And I was like, okay. And I started off as like tech support at this company for just like temp to hire, essentially. And then they've just enjoyed me, and I've done well. And through the ranks, I have risen, and here we are now with this job.
Nice. Yeah.
And that was a lot of information. Like I said, that chain of events definitely does not, it's not one to the other. It's, oh my God, how did you do this? Like, how did you get here?
No, I love that story.
Yeah.
Now, the reason why
very relatable.
it's relatable.
Yeah.
And I love that. So this answers all of our questions that we had in the beginning that we talked about, of how you seem as though you're this very, very calm, like you said, old soul, is because you were forced to kind of mature early.
Yeah.
The fact that you were a manager at that young, listen.
Yes.
When I was that age, I was not doing manager stuff. I was a personal trainer of a gym that I did most of my hours with, and I got paid a lot of money, which is the amount of money that a lot of 21, 22-year-olds just don't get. And I did not do what you did. I didn't manage a bunch of people. I managed 2 people, not a whole restaurant full of people. Therefore, I was able to be, immature and a kid and very not personally developed and responsible. And the fact that you had to buckle up and do that so early and basically have a bunch of people rely on you as a managerial position in a restaurant kind of forces that upon you. So I think that's a benefit, because at this point, you just ooze that. Like, we have conversations sometimes and I'm just like, oh man, this guy's super smart. And you're just this old kind soul that's just I'm glad you kind of went through that for my benefit, being your friend, that you're just I feel that from you. And that's cool. That it's a cool story that you had to kind of buckle up early. Did you feel as though because you didn't have a plan that you're okay with the way things kind of turned out? Were you not necessarily wanting to aim for a specific goal that you just didn't get a chance to do because you just kept getting promoted?
My biggest everything within that timeline has led me to where I'm at now, and I've got a really nice job. I'm married. I've got pretty good success on my platforms, and none of that would be. Some of it may have fallen in place, but not in the exact circumstances they are now. And if I ever were to look back on something that I might have ever regret's a very strong word. If there's something that I wish I could have experienced more of, because I did get to an extent, it would have been that. Wild college lifestyle. And the only reason I say that, I'm not on the, CBAD's Gone Wild train or anything like that.
Hey, I could see it.
Not with this figure, sir. No, sir. But I had a few friends that would go to local, or not local, they would go to major universities. And one of my cousins lived off campus at a university. So I'd get to go there and I'd get to kind of, live out some of my younger, do whatever, go to parties, do things that people do in parties when they're younger, which is all I'll say on YouTube. But things like that. I did get to the only reason I say that is because I got a lot of that energy out during my early mid-20s. After I turned 21, I was bartending, I was serving, and it was a pretty popular restaurant in the area that I worked in. So it was very easy for me to essentially have all my bills covered in like a week and a half, and then just drink the rest of my money away. And it wasn't, and that sounds really bad. Oh my God, like he's got a problem. But like I would get off work, I'd have a few drinks. Like my roommate and I would throw a party every now and then. But it was just, I could have used that time more productively. I'm unfortunately wired now to where if I'm not actively working or doing something, I feel immediately behind the ball. So looking back on that, if I would have maybe gotten some of those party years out a little bit younger, and then when I was in my early 20s, when I just had all this energy to work on 3 hours of sleep and a cup of G Fuel, maybe. But nowadays, that's probably the only thing I would have changed, was just kind of getting that out of my system a little bit earlier to kind of prep myself for where I'm at now.
Yeah, it's like you're telling me all this, and it sounds like very parallel to Daniel's like story too.
Yeah, man. A lot of your stories are very similar to mine, which is pretty cool. That's awesome to hear. We love that story, man. Now I want to get into the missus, right? So the missus has been congratulations first and foremost. Newlywed. How is it feeling? Any different than prior to?
Really, no, not at all. I have to remember to put my wedding ring on after I cook, because we just got. I mean, we really. In comparison, one of my best friends got married at a castle, and I've heard since that he's still paying off. It's like a very nice castle up in northwestern. I'm like doing the compass in my head, northwestern Michigan, where you can rent it out as a venue, and it's very the woman who did our wedding photography is very familiar with the venue. Like people who do a lot in the industry around here know of it. So when I say they got married in a castle, it's not like, oh my God, like it may seem far-fetched, but to some people, like, they know of where it is.
Yeah.
And like last I heard, he's still paying off the wedding. And he did the wedding. I got to stand in his wedding, like, and be one of his groomsmen. Like, it was a fantastic event. Like, I don't think he regrets the event itself, just the overall cost.
Yeah.
We did everything really low key. We had her mother fly in. We had my parents come in, my brother. And then there's like a gazebo downtown where we live, where I called City Hall and I was like, hey, can we like do something here? We'd seen weddings there before, but we didn't know what it did. And they were like, are you doing a full ceremony? And I said, no, we're just, we've got the officiant, we've got maybe 5 other people. She's like, well, we do charge X amount of dollars to rent it out for 6 hours. But since it sounds like you're just going there to do it, as long as no one else is using it, just go on ahead. So like we got a free venue.
Wow. That's awesome.
Score.
Yeah.
The local restaurant was, the prices have kind of like dipped a little bit because of COVID and everything opening back up. They want to entice people to come in safely. So I think prices were down there. And then only thing we really paid for was like a nice photographer and then the officiant. So, and then like Liz's ring is like well done, but I just have like a little silicone ring. So, and the reason I say all that to backtrack of why I have like just the silicone ring is because it was like $30. Like I don't, it's just there. And the only difference that I feel nowadays is just I take it off when I shower so it doesn't just fall off my hand. And then when I'm cooking, if I get like any oil or like raw meats on it, that's gross and I don't have to worry about that. So I usually just take it off while I cook. That's really the only difference. Really, everybody's like, "How is it?" I don't know.
I'm banded now.
I'm banded.
You can visually see the ball and chain.
No, literally, like I've got to wake up and there's my collar and I'm okay.
She wakes up. Where's your collar, sir? Summer was the same way.
She'll get on me if I cook and I forget to put it on. She's like, I'm like, oh, I was waiting to do the dishes. I didn't want to take it out, put it back on. So,
it's funny. You guys will evolve. It's so funny. Summer and I have just celebrated our 4 years married. And so
congratulations.
Thank you. In the beginning, it was that way. So she decided to get a Morganite ring. So lucky for me, right? I was ready to invest like X amount of dollars on a very large diamond ring, which is what I thought she wanted. But she told me she wanted a gemstone. I was like, oh, thank heaven. So I ended up not having to spend that much money on one. And she actually went out on my end and spent a lot of money. And then the first year it was like that. She would look at me like, hey, yo, what you're looking naked there. I'm like, oh, okay, my bad. I'm gonna go back in the house and put it on. And so I had something super nice, and eventually it evolved into what you have too right now is a silicone ring.
We both have silicone, but that goes because we have kids, and
it's just so much easier.
It's just easier with a silicone ring.
Who wants to? And we've talked about she's got her nice one, but she even said that like in a little bit she'll probably just downgrade to a silicone for when we're around the house
for like day-to-day stuff. It's just so much easier.
There's no sense. And people who do that, golf claps really.
Yes, exactly.
I've got no reason to walk around with anything more than this. I mean, right now it's a solid black piece of silicone. If I dress up nicely, I typically am a dark colored guy, so it goes with everything. The most thing I could do is probably upgrade to like a cobalt, or not a cobalt, an onyx ring, where it's just a little bit shinier, but the exact same thing from a distance. So it just made no sense.
Yeah. Well, shout out to you, the newlyweds.
Yes.
That's awesome.
Congratulations,
my man. You said that you guys did the long distance thing for a while. Did you guys meet in New York? What's that story?
She's gonna be mad at me for this one. So we actually started talking. We actually started talking on Twitter years ago. She found me. The first major exposure event that I had was doing a 151-hour live stream of Pokemon Sun and Moon with A Drive. Oh, and she was there was another person who doesn't need to be named. Doesn't matter. The important part there was that Dan was there and he was the host of the event. But what ended up happening was she was a fan of Dan's at the time and still is, but I feel like I need to double track because someone's gonna be in the comment. Do you mean she's not so and so anymore? And she was watching that and she was just like, oh, I guess guys, cute. I don't know, but
this is a nice product to see on my screen.
He seems wise and old. I might enjoy it. But what ended up happening is that I remember we ended up talking over Twitter, and back in the day I had a like a fan Snapchat where like I would like editing videos. I would post like spoilers, and there are things that people would do to like Instagram stories or Discord now. and she had added me on there, and on one of her stories there was a nice looking snap. It was not risque, it was not anything inappropriate, but it was like, wow, this is a lovely photo. You are an attractive young lady. And at the time, I didn't know that I had followed her on Twitter. There were 2 different usernames, and I guess she posted the same photo to Twitter, and I like 2 and 2 together and was like, oh, that's you. So we started talking. Come to later find out she actually posted that photo on both accounts just so she would know that I knew, like, so I would know who she was. And she posted that photo specifically to get my attention.
Yep.
So she
planted the seed.
Yeah.
It was the Jurassic Park gif where the guy turns around and the raptor's there and he's like, that's quite literally, she told me that. And I was like, you haunted me. Like, I am a beast. So we ended up talking for a few months. It actually didn't end up working out. We fell out of touch for, I want to say, I'm so bad with time, so I'm going to say about a year. It may have been around plus or minus some months, but we fell out of touch for about a year. We got back in touch at some point before Ultra Sun and Moon, so there was like a year difference between there. So yeah, it was about a year we fell out of touch. And then started talking prior to Ultra Sun and Moon. Ultra Sun and Moon comes around. I do a 251-hour marathon with A Drive and Deathly I Am. And while I'm down there for 2 weeks. And 251 hours is a lot. I will never do a long marathon like that again.
I'm stressed just thinking about it.
More people, just the 3 of us. It was rough, but we ended up making plans to go out and just, have a date, hang out. I don't know if we even called it a date back then, but like we wanted to meet after all this time of talking and connecting, and we ended up. I had no concept of time. I was streaming at Dan's house from 8 p.m. to 4 a.m. every day for 2 weeks.
Oh my gosh.
So the day of our date, I planned the location. There's a cheesecake factory in a nearby town that we decided to go to. I wake up 20 to 30 minutes beforehand, and I run some water through my hair, put on like this wrinkly dress shirt, and I go downstairs. And Dan's wife Danny's on the couch, and she's like, oh, like, where are you going? And I said, the Cheesecake Factory over and blah, blah, blah. And she's like, at the mall. And I was like, yeah, I think it's over by a mall. She's like, Chase, it's Black Friday. So our first date was on a Black Friday at a mall. It took us forever to find.
Oh my god!
It took us like an hour to get set, and then we had dinner or we had lunch. We went out for mini golfing afterwards, and then from there on, we just kind of, we continued our relationship. A few months later, when I went out, I visited her in New York. Probably about 2 months later in January for my birthday, and we made things official, and we just kind of kept the long distance thing for a few months, and we decided that we really wanted to pursue, moving in together. It just made sense financially that Michigan was the place to do it. It's a lot cheaper in Michigan to live than it is New York. So she moved out here in August of 2018, and then we got engaged last November, and then we got married back here on the 24th.
Yeah, nice. That's awesome.
That is the thing. That is
cute.
Stuff of fairy tales. Yeah. Man. That's so cool. That's so I think it's so much more impressive whenever couples meet online, because that's difficult to have a conversation with someone and carry it romantically or have it evolve into something that becomes real life.
Yeah. Because
there's a certain element of not necessarily skepticism, but just being like, is this really going to work out? How are we going to make this work? And the fact that you guys did.
Sometimes the things online don't connect the same as they do in person.
Yeah, because
that's awesome.
Or vice versa. Like it works online and you meet in person, you're like, okay, this just doesn't work out. So I'm glad that.
Is that what you just said? You just want to say I'm wrong just because.
Shout out to you guys. That's cool. Yeah, that's stuff of fairy tales, man. That's awesome. I'm so happy for you. Congratulations, newlyweds. That's awesome.
Thank you.
I do need to squeeze this one in there because I know that the fans of the podcast are gonna crucify me if I don't. Speaking that you were in the Cantonian region when you first started becoming a fan of the franchise, I do need to ask, if I were to say, hey, Chase, if you can pick one Pokemon, and this doesn't have to be your favorite competitively, it doesn't have to be purely off of aesthetics, but if I were to say you have to pick one Pokemon to be your absolute favorite of all time, what mon would that be?
It's Oxtricity.
Oh, okay.
John Jr. just dropped this.
I very much so. So this was back in the day of when I used to shiny hunt 9 million hours a week. The common question you would get from new people when they're trying to get to know you is, what is your favorite Pokemon? And that was like the back of my hand for the longest time. It was really a coin toss on my mood between either Arcanine or Suicune. I was a big fan of Arcanine growing up. Suicune really just kind of, from a competitive aspect, it turned better. And then I just started like enjoying that Pokemon more. Pokemon Crystal is my favorite like Pokemon game of all time. And then Toxtricity came out and absolutely stole my heart. I love him. I'm a big rock and roll and metal fan. So the fact that like this punk rock Pokemon came out, I was like, okay, like I like him, and the shiny was cool. And then when he would before the Gigantamax was released and the Dynamax would come out, he would like strum the strings on his chest. So I was like, stop, I love this Pokemon so much. So that's hands down Toxtricity takes the cake as my favorite.
That's awesome. Amazing. John Jr., he is going to, his jaw is just gonna fall. And
it is a good mon though. Toxtricity.
Yeah, we were talking because we, as a group of friends, we call ourselves the Goons, which is Dietite, John Jr., OG Albina, you know all these people. We were talking about these leaks coming in for Generation 8, and as the screenshots slowly started to come in, Toxtricity, Copperajah, Squavette, and another Pokemon, I want to say out of the leaked photo that we saw, I think it was like the tail end of Dragapult. I remember talking to John about it, and he was like, oh, that like rock looking Pokemon looks pretty cool, but and then they released the full specs 3D version around, and he's like, oh my god, everybody thought that this Pokemon was super
I
cool.
thought it was super
cool. It's a cool concept, so I can see how that relates to you, and that makes me ask a question. You said you're a big punk rock fan. Is that mostly what you listen to?
I listen to everything, man. Anything from I can zone out to some lo-fi. I can roll the windows down on a 72-degree day and listen to some country. I've got Avenged Sevenfold gear in my backdrop. If you have to peg me to a genre, Avenged Sevenfold is my favorite band of all time. I love them to death. They're like just truly my favorite band. But just a few hours ago, Big Sean dropped a new album. He's a big rapper here in Detroit, and
I'm obsessed with Big Sean. Okay, so this is major news for me.
I'm glad. No, I love Detroit 2's probably. I don't know if I can go on the record and say it's his best album yet, because Dark Sky Paradise was like it came out during a really pivotal moment in my life, and I just remember listening to it all the time. But Detroit 2 is really good. But yeah, I'll listen to anything and everything.
Yeah, we do love some lo-fi music over here, and Daniel's a big punk rock fan too.
Yes, of course. Shout out to Toxtricity. So guys, we will transition over to what most people are looking forward to. Yes. For those who aren't already, please follow me at Grandmaster D-Ray on Twitter. Whenever we have a guest, we will announce them via there, so that we can look forward to that next following week. And today was no different. Questions. You guys have an opportunity to shoot your shot, to ask any question to our guest that you ever wanted to. You know, barring certain levels, we can't have them answer everything, because sometimes people throw some weird stuff on there. But this time, some people shot their shot. We got some good ones, so we're gonna transition over to Twitter. The first one that I see from the top, and guys, if we don't end up getting to your question, it's merely off of just how much time that we have.
Yes,
we'll try to fit everybody in. We
try to, we really do, but time slips away. And
the reason I say that is because we announced Chase today, and holy moly, did you get a big response? You are a popular man.
Yes,
you are a very popular man.
Thank you. I tried to make sure we could get some good ones in there, and then if we have to do like a lightning round at the end or something like that, we can do that. But I tried to get some good ones out there today and get the feelers out.
We did for sure. This is going to be a first one to kind of start us off lightly, because this is a good friend of ours and an alumni of the Grandmasters table. The very first question that I see here is from @UltraPlayer12, our good friend Josh. He asks you, "Why are you the best son?" Can you give us a little bit more context of what he's talking about?
Yeah, he's my dad. That's the answer is that. I don't remember how it started. I think him and I think he was helping out with some front office stuff at one point, and I'm sure he could probably pull up a screenshot somewhere, but I called him dad. And that's really just how that kind of went from there. I recently disowned him though. He sniped me in a draft league, and I said I need to find a new dad. So we're still trying to work that out right now. So
trouble in paradise.
Yeah.
But as far as it goes, just being a good son just entails, just when you see your dad in Discord, you just type all caps "dad" and then you go about your business. Stop in the streams every now and then and just all caps "dad," and then just maybe lurk, maybe talk a few times, but that's really what it entails.
It's the equivalent of throwing around the pigskin. Dad, there it is.
Exactly.
The next question I have here is from @Olivia Sama. Shout out to Liv. She asks, "What inspired?" Oh, this is a good one.
Yes.
This one's gonna. Pause for dramatic effect.
Oh my god.
She asks you, what inspired the "Be Great, Do Great" catchphrase?
So this one hits a little bit home. So my freshman year, before my freshman year, my grandmother was actually diagnosed with pancreatic cancer. And this is gonna grab the tissues. I've told this story a few times, so I don't get as choked up anymore. But the story behind that, my grandmother was diagnosed with pancreatic cancer. She lived with me my entire life. She was my closest friend growing up, and she ended up passing away about just 2/3 of the way through my freshman year. And one of the last things that I remember that she gave me was a birthday card where in there, it was very, I think probably my biggest regret in life is I don't know what happened to this card, quite frankly. But within there, one of the sentences was something along the lines of, I am very, proud to see and excited to see the great man that you will, it said sometimes be, and then she scribbled out sometimes and wrote someday be. And that just like being great, that was one of the things that I just remember. It's like, grandma, like sometimes I'm great, what happens all the time. So that just kind of stuck with me, and it's just kind of been my little homage, I guess you can say, to my grandmother and what I try to bring to the table as far as content goes.
That's awesome.
That's a great story.
You just pulled my heart out of my chest. Oh man,
awesome.
that's so cool. I love that. That's awesome whenever there's context behind
meaningful.
There's a meaning behind the content that we get every day. So that's awesome, Chase. That's cool. The next question that we have here, oh my good lord, we have another alumni of the Grandmaster's Table. Shout out to Shuckle King at Shuckle_King. He explained a little bit more in context why he asked the first question, but I'm gonna spitball all of these questions and then we'll kind of roll on from there. First part he asks is favorite bridge ? And then asks what not. We'll do this in halves. So favorite bridge, and then why not have the username CBAD over CBADGG? And then what's the scariest thing you've done? And then we'll do the second half after that. But the first question is, what's your favorite bridge?
I know the answer to the other two, but that's such a weird one.
Yeah.
If there's a favorite bridge, my God. Like I'm thinking like a landmark, like I'm trying to like spin this and be like, my favorite musical bridge is when I'm trying to think. I think if there is a favorite bridge that I have, there's a bridge that whenever we travel to go see my godmother in Kentucky, we have to cross over, and I think it's from Ohio into Kentucky. And I remember growing up that whenever we crossed over this bridge, my mother would like yell at all of us to shut up, radio off, windows up, and she would like white knuckle over the bridge, and she would get so afraid of this bridge. Like if you breathed too loud, like, what are you doing? Like, oh my God, like, okay, sorry. Like, so I just remember as soon as we got to a bridge, if the windows went up, radio down, like we all just shush until we're over the bridge. And I just remember like I would, in my adult life, I would drive over bridges and I would have that same anxiety, like, windows up, like radio off, nobody like talked to me. And I remember somebody, I think it was I want to say it was either Liz or maybe I was even younger and it was a friend or somebody else I was with at the time, but they were like, why do you do that? And I'm like, I don't know. I didn't know fear was hereditary. I know that a bridge is not like, this is not the 60s. Like, I know that this bridge is going to stay there. It is going to be firm. Like, I was big in math and physics. I understand this is not going to fall, but I remember my entire life, shut the heck up when we're over a bridge. Otherwise, mom's going to yell at you. So I would white knuckle the same thing. And I just remember that was the only bridge we ever crossed over at the time, because probably we lived in Middle Michigan. So there's not that much hills to use a bridge. It was really the only one. And so that's my favorite bridge.
That's awesome.
Favorite bridge. That's my most known bridge.
Most known, yeah. That's funny.
Part two of that question, he asks you, why not have a username CBAD over CBADGG?
Because Twitter won't give me the ad. There's been a deactivated account for years, or an inactive account for years, that just has the account and they won't give it to me. And I've tried everything. I own the domains. I own everything about it. I've made so many attempts. I've tweeted about it so much that Twitter bots who can hack accounts DM me and say, let me know if you want name subscription services like to change. And I've thought about it, but A, I'm pretty sure that's illegal to an extent. Yeah. And B, the whole thing now is if I try to go to account settings and drop the GG, it says that CBAD is too short. So it's like, and I'm like, just give it to me, please. Like the account's right there. I see it. Like at Jack, you like the owner of Twitter. I see that you have it. Just give me that same. So CBAD GG was there, and then I tried for so long to get CBAD on Twitch, and finally it was actually really spur of the moment. I had just thought about dropping from Crimson CBAD to just CBAD for years, and then I had contacted Twitch partner support so many times about getting the ad, and they wouldn't tell me why they couldn't give it to me. And then finally one day, like I went through, I purchased the domain like legally online, like I own CBAD, and I messaged Twitch again and I said, hi, like just checking to see if I can get this username. I show that it's inactive. I own the domain. Let me know if I can fax over the paperwork. And I got an email back like an hour later that was like, yeah, you can have it. Just let us know, because once we do that, like you're changed. Like there's no more, like all of your links are gone. Like you are now CBAD. And I was like, oh, okay. So I got that. And then I was like, well, I can't just have Crimson CBAD on anything anymore. And CBAD GG was the only real universal handle at the time that was available. It could have been CBAD TV. It could have been CBAD _, but I thought GG just kind of looked the cleanest. So I just went with that. One day, maybe, if you ever see me with the CBAD handle, you know, I finally caved and talked to one of those guys that was offering me the account.
The bots.
or Twitter finally decided to cooperate with me. But that's a very simple reason I can't get the app.
Oh, damn. Freaking
That hit the
Twitter.
wall. Damn Twitter.
I wish there was a cooler story other than I just can't. That's all it is.
I'm stuck. The next question he has here is, what's the scariest thing you've done?
Oh boy. Trying to think about it. I'm trying to make sure like your channel doesn't lose monetization. Scariest thing I've done. I think the only thing that's coming to my head was like I almost died one time.
Jeez.
And that was just like I was pretty drunk at the time, so it didn't like sit into me. So we were out at a golf course for my best friend's bachelor party, and we split off into two groups. One was a few holes ahead, the other one was a few holes behind. And if you haven't gone golfing, for those of you listening, there's typically a cart person, a cart girl that will come around and offer all the golfers, you know, snacks, beers, shots, whatever it may be. And the hole that we were on, the tee was on an elevated plane. The golf cart track was on this lower plane, probably about like 8 to 12 inches of difference. So my friends were up on the tee. I was down by the track. The cart girl came through and drove right between us. So she ended up hopping her cart up on the tee, and it was at an angle. Well, what we didn't calculate for was that I'm standing next to my golf cart. She drives right next to it. When her golf cart angles in at me, the top of her golf cart pins my neck against my own golf cart. And like, I grabbed the side of it, and like, it's a golf cart. Like, it's not a real car. Like, you can flip it. Like, if you're a big guy, like, you can just shove it, you know? So I grab it, but I remember sitting here like feeling like my uvula sitting on the top of this golf cart. And the cart girl gets out to go offer them drinks, and they're like, lady, like, look. And I'm sitting here like calmly breathing, because I'm like, again, like, I've been in the sun, I've been drinking, and I'm like, okay, like, don't do anything, like, just stay calm, and I'm sure she'll move this cart. Well, she ends up moving the cart away, and this was a really nice golf course out in Traverse City, Michigan. And at the time, I had been out in the sun drinking all day. She's like, oh my God, like, what? She's afraid, like, I'm going to call her boss and she's going to get fired, and there's this lawsuit. And hindsight 2020, could have probably never worked again and sued this golf course. But at the time, I was like, just give us your stock. And she's like, what? And I'm like, yeah, how many shots do you have? And she's like, I don't know, like 7 or 8. And I'm like, how many Millers do you have? And she's like, probably like half a dozen. I was like, think you can tell your boss that you bought it for us? And she was like, oh my God, yeah, absolutely. So our friends met up with us at the next hole, and we just have like a case of beer and like half a gallon of like Fireball shots, and we're like, yeah, let's go. Like, and like, so I almost died, and for free booze. But like I said, I mean, within the next day, and like I say it's a moral compass, but somebody's probably like, that's not a moral compass if you blackmailed her into like just giving you stuff. And I was like, but I didn't want to go back the next day and be like, so your cart girl almost killed me. But like later that night, we were all sobering up, and we're like, wow, we really could have like just not ever worked again, could we? And I'm like, yeah. But we had a few good drinks. They're like, yeah, it's fine.
We got a case of beer.
I just remember that moment, like it was really the most, and it was a bachelor party. Like we were all pretty like wake up and crack a dawn, crack a beer. So, but it was probably the most sobering moment I had that whole weekend, where I was like, oh God, like, ha ha ha, we're all golfing. Oh God, I'm about to die. Like, so that was probably it was probably a good 5 minutes that I will keep with me, and for that. That's probably the scariest, maybe not the scariest thing I've ever done, but the scariest experience in recent memory.
And thus we see CBAD trade the path of light for a shot of fireball.
For a case of beer. A couple shots.
Could have never worked again had that lawsuit paid out for years. But no, we decided to have a few drinks, enjoy the weekend.
That's
Oh my
amazing.
God.
I
That's
think it
so
probably worked out for the better. I mean, I'm sure that girl probably, COVID unrelated, probably still has her job. Golf course still doing well,
Yeah, exactly.
Nothing in the news about a few shots of fireball going our way. So we ended up working that out.
Yeah.
That's awesome. So I'm gonna throw one of these questions out for the sake of time that Shukla had on here, which is a real fun one. He asks, "What's your hidden talent?"
Oh, hidden talents. I'm not that bad at bowling.
Oh, nice. I'm
I used
terrible.
to.
I love the humble I love the humble answer to that. He's like in the back going to these bowling alleys, like
Not bad.
dropping on people.
Yeah.
Like, I'm the best. And then he comes on the podcast and says, "I'm not that bad. I'm pretty good." I'm actually pretty good.
One of my jobs in college was I worked at a bowling alley, and they would just, one of the perks was that you got free bowling and free pool, and I was never one for pool. I felt like that was like not something I would commonly do unless I went to a pool hall, which I was young and I was like, who goes to a pool hall? But so I would just show up a few hours before work and I would like practice bowling with the house ball and the house shoes, and a lot of the coworkers, they were all on leagues and they were like, try this ball, try these shoes and blah, blah, blah. And I just ended up like doing it because I was like, well, I can either sit on my thumb all day or I can go to work a little early and
Practice.
practice bowling. And so nowadays, but I'm like the guy that if we're like, you guys go bowling tonight? Yeah, let's go bowling tonight. Like I'm the guy who will grab his ball out of his car and you're like, oh, like you're that guy. I'm not throwing 300s, but I will, there's a gap between the people who just bowl twice a year and then me.
Yeah. I'm intimidated because I still have to bowl with my bumpers.
There you go.
She's a bumper gal.
Yeah, I'm a bumpers.
That's amazing. So there's that talent. That's so good. That's so good. I'm gonna read this
funny.
next question under full context. Shout out to Platinum Howler, who is our coach mate in the BBR. So he asks you, I've seen you post pictures of bundles of games that you buy. How the hell do you have the time to play them all? And what are your top 3 favorite non-Pokemon games?
So I think the easier part of that question is actually they're both pretty easy. So I'll do the top one first because that might take a little bit more time. Top 3 favorite games, non-Pokemon related. BioShock 1. 2's pretty good, but BioShock 1 is the game that I wish I could go back and re-experience for the first time all over again. Recommend it to everybody. Great story, great underlying tones, great just overall game. Like it's fantastic. Next game on there. I recently just finished The Last of Us over on my Patreon, and that game grabbed my heartstrings every turn, man. And it was a great story. I don't know if it's like top 2 of all time right now, but I'm really into it right now. I just picked up the sequel recently, so I look forward to hopping to that within the next few weeks. But because I just finished it up, that one's fresh in my memory. Fantastic game, recommend it to everybody. And then my third favorite non-Pokemon game, I spent a lot of time on Fortnite. That has a lot of good memories to me. I'm gonna toss up like between Fortnite and Guitar Hero, like nothing that has a lot of like plot related, but I played a lot of Fortnite with my friends back in the day. When it first came out, everybody played Fortnite, man. I was queuing up with everybody, man, and that was fun. And then Guitar Hero, I spent a lot of time on that as a kid. All of our friends had like the different guitars, and we'd battle online and go over to houses and do the full rock band thing. So that like a good party game, that's Fortnite or Guitar Hero probably for that last spot. And then the other question was, I see you buy bundles of games. How do you have time to play all them? I don't. I tweeted about probably not even a week ago that said, please, like, I'm not buying any more games. If you see me, holler at your boy. And then today I just bought more games.
Save me.
And today I just bought more games.
And the reason for that is, how many people have 100 plus Pokemon? You only get to take 6 to a battle. You like having that collection, don't you? Exactly. That's the answer to my question. I just like having a collection, man. It's really fun. During my youth, I went through and all of the games that I had, when you could trade in games, like, what do you mean? I can just give you games and you'll give me new ones? Like, hell yeah, I'm doing that right now. And there's so many classic games and systems that I just traded in for dirt. And just to get something. And it just, like, I remember trading in games for DVDs at GameStop when you could do that. And I just, it was dumb. And I look back on that and the amount of money that I wasted at the time was probably bad. So I'm going through, I've got a collection. I mean, I truthfully have a PS2 sitting right next to me. I have a whole shelf full of PS2 games. Literally haven't touched a single one of them. My GameCube games, I bought a GameCube to play on stream and stuff like that, and record on hardware. Whole rack of GameCube games never played. PS4 games, I have probably 25 plus at this point, and I've played 4, maybe.
Yeah.
You know, I'll get around to the catalog. My Steam's even worse. Not even gonna start on my Steam, but you can't. It's not the same as taking a screenshot of your Steam receipt and saying, "Oh, look what I got." You know, but it really, I don't play them all. I don't. Some of them will probably sit there for ages before I get around to them.
Yeah.
But it's just nice having the collection.
It's like your shoe count.
Like,
Blink twice if you have a problem.
Exactly. People who buy shoes, you know how many times you wear those shoes. You know, people who
Exactly.
I used to bartend. I love the idea of a liquor cabinet. Like, do you really need all that liquor? Do you drink all that liquor each week? No. I like having it,
Yeah.
I like to have it just because.
yeah, exactly.
It's like a trophy case. I feel that. The next question that we have here is from @Proxy. He asks, what are some ways, this is a good question. What are some ways to gain attraction as a small content creator?
Stand out. Find something that separates yourself. It's harder than it was when I started. And the reason I say that is because when I started, the biggest scene was Wi-Fi. Everybody and their brother, because they saw Shady Penguin go from 30 to 100K in a few months doing live Wi-Fi battles. So everybody wanted to do a live Wi-Fi battle, man. So everybody was doing it. People were on Twitter like, you know, I'm taking 3 Oris, 3 X and Y Wi-Fi battles, post your friend code and I'll pick you. And I remember when I first started YouTube, back before he was not a person we talk about publicly, I remember King Nappy would look for Wi-Fi battles. I remember Mr. Talent, Nips would look for Wi-Fi battles. Magnitude, Shady Penguin, Hayden, Shofu, all these guys would look for Wi-Fi battles. And I'd always throw my hat into the ring. And I remember I had mobile notifications on for a lot of these guys because they were, my favorite creators at the time. And they would tweet out, and within seconds I would respond and be like, here's my friend code. Like I had it on an iPhone keyboard shortcut for my friend code. So I could just tap, send. And they would, be like, all right, dude, like, let's battle. And I'd go record it and I'd either get stomped or, it'd be good. And I would, have some sort of connection with these guys. And it was nice because not only them, but then other YouTubers, 500, 600, 700 subs. I remember like Super Lugia back in the day. Super, when he was Super Lugia, used to do Wi-Fi battles. And I remember him and I would do that. Whoop Sire used to be the champion Nick. And he used to do, we've got Wi-Fi battles with each other. There's so many PokéTubers that have unfortunately come and gone that back in the day when they used to want to do Wi-Fi battles, it was really easy to find that collaborative content to promote cross-promotion between channels. So that was really easy. And nowadays it's very hard because the entry level is quite frankly very low. If there's anybody listening to this that is like, man, I really want to be a PokéTuber, but God, it's hard. This is literally the easiest time in your life to be a PokéTuber right now because you need a Switch, which a lot of people already have. I understand it's expensive hardware. I do. I own up to that. Once you get that Switch, that's an investment. You get maybe a capture card, which you can find. I've got my own partners and sponsors, but I have seen other models that go for cheaper that may not be as sharp and as quality, but they probably save you a couple of dollars. And you just, you make the content. Like there's free programs. There's so much free information that wasn't available when I was around. I remember I bought a $500 3DS capture card from Japan because that was the only way to get it in 2014. It's the bar is so low, which creates for such a volume and such a saturation in the content that you really do need to stand out. Whether it be editing, whether it be a gimmick that you might have, whether it be, and gimmicks aren't bad. Look at I would refer character acting as a gimmick, so to speak. It's something. It's a shtick. It's a routine. Dr. Disrespect is one of my favorite creators of all time, and his gimmick gets him places. And so, don't be a character actor. Maybe find something that works for you. Stand out somehow. One of my favorite things that I see right now, shout out Sir Jorge D. Great. His thumbnails are always so unique. And every time you go to his channel, you see those just identifiable. They're not the cut and dry screenshot thumbnails. He puts time and effort, heart and soul into these thumbnails, and those stand out, and those will attract people to his channel. If you got to find a way to separate yourself from the masses. Look up, if you're uploading Pokemon Sword and Shield Let's Play #1, go on YouTube and search that. Find how many other people already uploaded that and say, okay, what's gonna put me ahead? How are people gonna click on me and identify as me now? Other than that, just be yourself, have fun with it. Don't, if you're gonna go into YouTube to make money, understand that that's what you're doing, because if you go into it under the guise of I'm just doing it to have fun with my friends. But like, you're that guy that has just, every like, please donate, please subscribe here, check out the merch of a smiley face on a t-shirt. Like, people know what you're doing. If you're going to be in it for money, be in it for money. If you're going to be in it to have fun, be in it to have fun.
Mm-hmm.
It's okay to have a hobby. It's okay to make it a job. Know what you want and own it.
Yeah, this is true.
That is 100% true. Once you find your thing, once you find your niche, that, like you said, makes you stand out above the rest, everything else just comes cake from there. That's awesome. That's good advice. I love that.
That is really good advice.
I'm going to lighten up the mood a little bit. We're going to throw our wonderful commissioner of the BBR out here a little bit, and he's going to ask, at Mid Pokemaster, he asks you, why do you think headbands are cool?
Dude, heck, Mid Pokemon. Man, I tell you what, his favorite college. We've discussed my college livelihood, but my mother is her alma mater is his favorite college's arch rival.
Oh, no.
Like, I was raised to not like people who enjoy that college. So when we found out, like, we've got like an Ash and Gary rivalry. But no, Mid's cool people. I love headbands because my hair's really long. I'm trying to grow it out into a man bun right now because
nice.
I don't want to spend money to get my hair cut when someone can cough on me and then I die. So I'm going to grow out my hair. And for the longest time into the heating summer months, I was wearing a big beanie to cover it up because it was just a lot of hair. And it would just get so hot. I mean, I would be in a tank top and boxers, like screaming and recording, and hoping that I make sure that my room camera is off so somebody just doesn't see like my cake hanging off the chair here. And I remember Liz got me a headband one time because I was like, God, like this hair's just all in my face, like the beanie's not helping. And she's like, here, like try this headband, and it just pulled it back. I didn't look weird. And I was like, this is all I wanted. I just didn't want to look weird. And, like, it's not hot. Like, it's great. So I just, I'm a headband guy now.
Nice.
Shout out to Liz.
I'm currently wearing a headband now, too. That's right.
It's so good. It's so good.
They are.
I have the same issue. My hair is like...
Yeah, you're like half-inch long hair.
That's awesome. Shout out to Mid. I love that you guys. So for those in context, Chase and I are adamant for the BBR, and those conversations that I get to watch from afar, pull up some popcorn and just watch them go at it with their colors.
Oh yeah, you.
It's been some time. It's been good things.
It's been good things.
The next question I have here is from our most recent guest of the Grandmasters table, an awesome alumni, beautiful people, Mr. Joey at Joey Poké MD. He asks you a couple things. I'll do this in pieces. The first part that he asks you, I know.
Poké always comes with that heat.
He asks you, what has been your favorite project to work on?
I've got a few there. Let me think about that. So hands down, like gun to my head, what's your favorite answer now? I did a playthrough with A-Drive a few years ago.
I do remember that.
Numerically, if you take a look at it, like that was the best performance to date. And he's got his YouTube channel has constant, he didn't take time off like I did, and he's been constant in all of his channel. Like his channel just does well, and people go watch that playthrough and drives traction and traffic to my channel. So numerically, that's going to do well, and it helps on my bottom line. So I'll address one aspect, like, yes, that helps me pad the wallet every now and then. But all in all, it was such a great time. Our friend KG did the graphics, and I remember being a part of like just seeing the layout and the intro and stuff come to life. And we got the intro through. I think my friend Goob did the intro. I'd have to go back and look at the description, but I just remember getting that intro put together, and I was like, "Stop! This is like some dumb heat. Like, are you kidding me?" And I remember each time, like, we would try to think of like back before intro moments were the funny thing. We would try to like think of something to do, or I'd edit something in post-production to like put together an intro moment. But like it was just fun to sit down and hang out with my best friend every time. Like he'd be like, all right, like I'm getting ready to stream at 11. Can we record at 9 or 10? And I'd be like, okay, sure. Like I'd go drive into town, grab a bagel, come back, we'd record. I'd edit it, and it was just fun because I'd start off my day just kicking around and just broing out with my best friend. And then there'd be the times where we'd need a bulk record, and so we'd end up one recording and then immediately hit record and be like, what's up, guys? This is the same inside joke from last episode. If you guys are excited, like, it was really fun. It was really fun. I look back on that project, and a lot of people, found me because of that, and a lot of people have enjoyed it, and it brought a lot of happiness. And so that's probably my favorite project. Aside from that, I've enjoyed being a part of the BBR and just kind of having like, I was in admin positions in other leagues where it just kind of like my input wasn't taken into consideration, which I was like, why am I here? Like, A lot of toxic players and stuff like that. But that's changed, and that's besides the point. BBR has been fun to be a part of. God, other favorite projects that I've got. I think that's really
My heart just
jumping out at me.
Jeez.
Aside from this, of course.
Yeah, there we go.
We made the list.
Yay!
We made it. The second part that he asks you, we kind of touched on it a little bit. He
Yeah.
asks you what it's like to be a newlywed. Kind of covered that a little bit because said Joey is also newlywed. Shout out to him and
Well,
Marley.
yeah, 2 years.
2 years. We'll call it new.
Kind
God,
of.
it's
With
been
it.
2 years since him and Mar got married. My God,
Yeah.
Time flies,
that's
huh?
incredible. It really is.
Crazy.
The third part he asks you is, does content creation ever feel like a chore? You work late nights, come home, eat dinner, and record after. Does that feel like it's a little bit much sometimes?
Yeah, it does. It does. And there's, I love the grind mentality. I touched on it earlier, where I'm essentially wired at this point where if I'm not actively doing something like in any aspect, I really just feel like I'm kind of getting behind the ball. In order to circumvent that, like I can't just sit around and like just lay on the couch. I wish I could just lay on the couch and grab a beer. I can if I know that I've like done a lot of work that day, but I can't just start my day and then just go, kick around. I have to, clean. I have to come in here and edit something. There's always something behind the scenes that I can work on. I circumvent that by just napping, because if I'm sleeping, I truly can't work. So that works out. But no, sometimes it does. Sometimes it is a little grindy to have a rough day at work. It's a really hard time for a lot of people in the country right now.
Yeah.
And I deal with a lot of that on a day-to-day basis. And you after a while you learn to shrug it off. But some days just kind of weigh down a little bit harder. There's always something in the background that just kind of I get done making dinner and I'd really like to just hang out on the couch, maybe watch some Netflix or something. But no, I'll come in here and make my videos, and I enjoy my videos, and I enjoy that people enjoy watching them or streaming. I enjoy going live and having people watch the stream and things like that. But some days, it really is like if I look down on a to-do list and I see, as an example, like months ago, it would like record Dragon Ball Z 40 through 43, record Sinking Sapphire 1, 2, and 3, like edit, set to render and upload. Like that would be my to-do list. And I'd be like, okay, like back to the grind. Like, so yeah, sometimes it does. League matches, there's a lot of prep work that goes into those, both in the actual building process, and then I put a lot of time into post-production to make sure everything looks nice. So it really, like, there's a lot of work that goes into behind the scenes so I like what I do. I wouldn't trade it. If I did want to trade it, I wouldn't do it, really. I choose to do it, But yeah, sometimes it does.
I think that's a lot of people underestimate the time it takes to actually be a content creator, and how much behind the scenes work is done. Because I know Daniel could like literally sit here all day long working on stuff and have something to do and still have something to do. Like there's a lot, like to actually put out really good content takes a lot of dedication and work. I think that's something that people don't always understand.
I feel as though that's the love that we put behind it, because what I always tell people, I tell that to some of my friends, that sometimes content doesn't do as well as maybe something else that you've done in the past. Could be because you can tell that the effort that you put into it isn't as high quality as you would in some other pieces. But when you actually have those high quality pieces, like you said, you take that extra time in post-production in your league matches to make sure that everything looks good, that ends up putting up much better in the long run, because that little extra detail will cause people to come back because it's visually appealing. And that grind and that little extra effort, that extra time that you put into it shows on your end product. So us being workaholics and making sure that everything looks perfect, almost in an OCD kind of way, ends up paying off. But there is still that grind aspect of having to stick your head into the desk and work, because there is a certain side of content creation that everyone else doesn't see. And the good stuff is the byproduct of everybody coming back and enjoying your stuff.
Yeah.
And your stuff is great.
Exactly. Oh yeah, no, exactly. Thank you.
BTW, your new layout for your matches, ooh, top notch. Love it.
Thank you.
Just recently brought those in.
Big fan of that. Big fan of that. Shout out to Killian. He absolutely. Nice. I don't think that's what I had in mind when I wanted a fresh coat on those, and he absolutely crushed it. And I've never had a bad product delivered from him. Absolutely love it.
And then Joey on here, he says he's gonna tap into your old soul here. He's gonna ask you, where do you see yourself in 5 years?
Oh my God. I really work, and it's really horrible for me because I like to have a lot of long-term mentality when it comes to the actions that I take. But as far as the end result goes, and this is gonna keep me up all night now. Damn it, Joey. Where do I see myself in 5 years? I don't know. Working hard on something that hopefully makes, gives somebody a little smile at the end of the day is really all I can say, whether it be making content and somebody watches that video, whether it be trying to, help somebody out in my customer service role right now, whether it be doing God knows what, I want to make sure the effort I put in is putting out some, I was really pessimistic and negative in my youth, and I just want to kind of put a little bit more of that energy back into the universe and just, do stuff that people enjoy and kind of, maybe put a smile on somebody's face. So that's really all I can say. Hopefully in a house at this point, my God. I'm so tired of living in an apartment, but hopefully buying a house the next year or so, and then probably just keep doing what I'm doing then.
Nice. Sounds like a content creator. If that sounds boy. And then the last part on here is just gonna lighten up the mood. He asks you, "Will the virus ever end?" In your opinion,
No.
I guess he's asking.
No.
Yeah.
No. There's a whole part 2 of this that I'm not even gonna get into. But
Yeah.
Western medicine and pharmacy is a business at this point, so a vaccine is going to be very hard to mass distribute. People are still always going to take what they hear from mainstream media. I just went shopping today, and the amount of times I wish I just had a shirt that said "the mask goes over your nose too" was outstanding. So
Yeah.
just with everything that's going on right now, maybe at some point, but even we think about you guys remember the Black Plague in the 1300s? There was a case of that a month ago. That's still around. Will the virus ever go away? No. Will it get better? Hopefully.
Yeah.
I really like it too. I really don't want to keep thinking boy, I should really stock up for the zombie apocalypse. But I'd like to think maybe in the next. Do I think in the next year? No. No, I don't think we're gonna get back to normal in a major aspect until maybe 2022. Local states, will have their own ordinance in place. Arizona's doing horrible last I checked. But Michigan's not doing too bad. So, maybe Michigan starts to open up more in the next 6 months, but Arizona might get wise and lock it down in the next 6 months. So they take another year. But, maybe by 2022, things start to get back to a little bit of normalcy. But no, this has had a huge impact on everybody. And it has really changed a lot of society and a lot of culture, and things that we didn't think needed changed have changed. And it's brought a lot of positive reinforcement. I love, some of the stuff that's come out of it. And I hope that coming into a world where we can open up and actually shake hands without wearing a glove and things like that is really nice. But it'll be a while. It'll be a while before things get back to normal.
Yeah. I couldn't have said it better myself.
Yeah, for real.
So for the sake of time, guys, we appreciate you guys to sending off your questions. I'm going to end this off with one because he did mention his name previously in the beginning of the episode. And I did want to ask this question because I feel as though maybe something that other people have wondered about, especially those supporting you and watch you on a daily basis. At Iron Boffin, he asks you, what inspired your comeback after your hiatus?
So I've always enjoyed content, and I've always thought of it to be a part of my life. And it's really hard in this space, especially where, imagine instead of YouTubing, imagine I got into flipping. Imagine I went to garage sales or did houses and, flip those for extra cash, or because I enjoyed the thrill of finding, maybe antiques, or for houses, maybe I just really enjoyed home design, building floors, putting in that, the manual labor aspect, something like that you can walk away from. It's really easy to, but when I stepped away from content, it really was better for my mental health just to kind of get some things in check. And I really, I left a lot of people behind when I did that. There were a lot of people who I was off of Twitter for a period of time where I might check it maybe once a month and kind of glance over what's going on and make sure, the people I care and love about are still around. But, it wasn't every day now where I've got Twitter open in the tab on my phone, on my computer, on my laptop. But, there are a lot of people that really over the years that I did this were, rooting for me and wanted me to get back. And, I provided a lot of positivity for them. And in the space of content, you never owe anybody anything. I think, when you decide to make content and sit down and record it, it's because you want to put that out, not because, oh God, I got to put out Pokemon Sun Part 37 for little Timmy. No, you put it out because you want to finish the project. That's the end of the day. Tell little Timmy how the game ends. You beat Necrozma. Necrozma's the bad guy. Boom. So, there you go. You don't need to record it. But, you know, I felt like I did leave a lot of people behind, and a lot of people who came to me as an outlet that I really wanted to provide, you know, no longer had that outlet. And also at the end of the day, I really also like still enjoyed streaming. I enjoyed gaming. It was a good way for me to keep in touch with some friends that I made in the space. And ultimately I felt like, you know, my life was in a better place having it and having it be around. Like I said, I really, you know, I may be the byproduct of it, but I always end up finding something to do. And without being a content creator, without, you know, being in this space as a YouTuber, as a Twitch streamer, making, you know, Patreon content, doing all this other business in the back end, I'd probably go insane. Like I'd probably pick up a second job or something. I mean, it's just really, it's a great way now to kind of bide my time, but also at the time I wanted to just kind of reconnect with a lot of the people that you know, I created those emotional bonds with, and still be able to make that same content that I fell in love with back in 2015 when I started uploading.
Yeah.
I like that. That's cool. That was my question. I had a question about that too, because I was so when I was doing my traveling and playing tournaments, random spots on the West Coast, I actually watched you a lot in your APA runs. Mostly, I know that you were in the GBA also, so I would watch you religiously. You're one of my favorites to watch, just because you're just so lively and your energy is just always so high. That I remember when you did announce that you're taking that break, and I was like, oh man, this is gonna suck, just to not have that positive, because you always had that positive essence to you. We did miss you, so I'm glad that you were able to take care of yourself, and now that you're back better than ever. I'm not necessarily sad that you left. I'm happy that you're back, because I'm glad that you took care of everything you needed to take care of, and now you're just better than ever.
Well, thank you. That means a lot. I realized, you know, hindsight, you know, I never would have, you know, tossed the coin and been like, oh, sales, guess I'm not going back to YouTube and Twitch. But it really, I still go through every now and then, and I take a look at it, and I try not to look at numbers anymore. But like one of my most, like probably one of my 10 or 25 most viewed videos is the video where I said I'm done for a while. And that's like, just, it's kind of weird to think about. Like that was a video that got a lot of traction, but I think about that every now and then, where, you know, if I feel like I'm like, man, do I really want to keep this up? And every now and then, you know, everybody gets that in this space, unless you're Markiplier, you know, every day you wake up, YouTube's got a new check in your mail. And I'm not saying his life is easy by any means, but you know, when Markiplier watches your videos, I don't want him to be like, this bastard said no. You know, everybody gets that, where they're like, man, do I really want to keep this up? You know, you question that grind. And I think about that, where one of my most, out of like the thousands of videos that I've uploaded, one of my most viewed is so many people who are like watching me saying I'm done. Like that's like, it's kind of bittersweet, you know, like you're like, wow, like this is, you know, I thought I did a lot of good work in this video, but I guess a lot of people like watching me saying I'm leaving. So it kind of reinforces that, you know, coming back was the right decision.
Yes.
Yeah. We're glad to have you back, man. So the floor is yours. Do you have anything coming up soon that you're ready to plug? Any projects that we have to look forward to?
Oh my gosh, let me see here. The ever pending Soul Link with Patty Trills, whenever that drops, God bless it. He lives over on your coast, and trying to between his schedule and my schedule and the time differences. I mean, I really could have moved a mountain in the meantime. That at some point, you know, that's, you know, coming soon. Asterisk whenever. Nothing too crazy, man. Keep an eye. You know, if people watch me, always enjoy plugging the Patreon. I think it's some of my I've done a lot of really cool edited content and flashy graphics and stuff. I think I really enjoy my Patreon at this point, because I really enjoy just sitting down and enjoying a game, and it brings me back to being like 12 years old, and my friend comes over and watches me play a game, and we both sit there in utter absolute silence while we watch the game. I don't have to sit there and like wacky zoom ins and worry about an algorithm and stuff like that. Like I'm just sitting there playing a game, and when something scares me, I jump out of my chair and swear, and then I get back to focus and maybe have a little colorful commentary, but it really brings me back to like enjoying gaming. So that's, I always like plugging that. Helps keep the lights on around here too, but I always enjoy plugging that. We get a lot of content over there. Twitch is great. Always love Twitch. Everybody who hangs out on Twitch is always fantastic. YouTube, I'm going to do league battles until I feel the blood pool from behind my eyes. I'm about to be in 3 leagues right now, and it just, boy. But I love it. I love being competitive, and that helps out. Let's Plays at some point, as soon as I can. I said it earlier today, where as soon as I can understand how to balance my calendar, Let's Plays will come back. So keep an eye out on that. But other than that, only else thing I want to plug is wash your hands and, you know, wear a mask, please.
Yep. Over your nose too.
Over your nose.
Please, everybody.
Please.
That's awesome. And I'll plug that we'll be playing together again pretty soon because we have to get that tiebreaker. For those who don't know, I saw Chase in week 1 of the NCP, and then he ended up returning the favor to me in the BBR. So we have to, get that round 3 and see who's superior at the end.
Absolutely.
In future seasons of the BBR NCP, the things that are coming. So make sure you guys keep your eyes out for that. But Chase, I'd like you to thanks. Words are tough tonight. I'd like to say thank you for your time. I know it's really late for you. I appreciate you sitting down with us, man. It means a lot.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm glad we finally got to connect and hang out for a little bit. I enjoyed it.
Yeah, time flies when you're having fun. Oh my goodness.
This was definitely one of my favorite ones.
Oh, look at that. There it is. I asked her the other day which one was her favorite.
I'm glad I could be here for it.
Yeah.
So guys, thank you so much for joining us on the episode of the Grandmaster's Table. We really do appreciate you guys. Again, if you did enjoy, make sure you hit the thumbs up button. And with that being said, we're going to get the heck up out of here. Have a great rest of your night. And above all else, be nice. Peace.